The book of Romans chapter 11, verse 11. Now we're going to deal with this again because we will come to Romans 11 every now and then. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is coming to the Gentiles to provoke them to jealousy. Who is this talking about? What is Paul talking about? I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Who stumbled and fell? Because it says, God forbid, but rather through their fall. Somebody fell because they stumbled. Who stumbled? Let's go back to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 8. Verse 14. Now watch this. And he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling, and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel, northern and southern kingdom, for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Let's go back up. For a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. The inhabitants of Jerusalem at the time of Christ was the scribes, Pharisee, Sadducee. We're letting you know, during Christ's time, was the scribes, Pharisee, priests. Notice this. And many of them shall stumble. Shall stumble, this is a future prophecy. Shall. And many of them shall stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken. So many among them, the Jews primarily is what they were called, scribes, Pharisee, Levites, priests in the time of Christ. They were the ones that were going to stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken. This is a prophecy. So when we, just to make full clear, we're going to see why they stumbled. 1 Peter 2, verse 7. 1 Peter 2 and 7. Unto you, therefore, which believe, he is precious. But unto them which be disobedient to the law, the stone which the builders disallow. The builders at the time of Christ was the Pharisee, scribes, Sadducee priesthood. The same is made the head of the cornerstone, and a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word. See, they stumbled at the word. They stumbled at the word. The word was the law. Being disobedient to the law, whereunto also they were appointed. What does it mean they were appointed? They were appointed. So if they were appointed to stumble at the word, let's go back to Romans 11. Romans 11, verse 11, real quick. That's why Paul says, I say then, have they, the they are the Pharisee, scribes, Sadducee, priests. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. No, they just didn't stumble to fall, but rather through their fall. They're still going to fall, rather through their fall. Salvation is coming to the Gentiles to provoke them to jealousy. So the Pharisee, scribes, and Sadducee were appointed to fall so salvation could come to the Gentiles to provoke them unto jealousy. So here's what we're going to do. When it says salvation is coming to the Gentiles, back to Romans 9. Back to Romans 9. I want you to spend a couple of minutes on this. Not a couple, but just a minute and a half. It's very important, brothers and sisters, that you see to believe, not hear. See, in these last days, you have to see it to believe it. Romans 9:3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh. Look at what you're reading. Paul's brethren was his kinsmen according to the flesh. Paul named who his brethren was. His brethren was not another nation, except in a certain case. And we're going to go over it. But his brethren and his kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites. Paul's brethren and his kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites. It's important that you know his brethren were Israelites. Now, we're going back to Acts 22. We're going to 2 verses. Acts 22. I just want to read one line out of Acts 22 because I got to move it along. It's already been 5 minutes. The video is 10. Paul says, I am verily a man which am a Jew born in Tarsus. We're seeing this. Paul is a Jew born in the provinces of Rome. Paul was a Jew born in the provinces of Rome. And when we go back to Acts 18, I want you to know, see, he's a Jew. Acts 18:1. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth and found a certain Jew, meaning Jews dwelt in Corinth. Jews dwelt in Corinth. So if there were Jews in Corinth and if there were Jews in Rome, that's 2 different places, but that doesn't stop them from being brethren. So the Jews that were in Corinth were called Corinthians. And we're going to show you why we know this. The book of 1 Corinthians. Watch, the book of 1 Corinthians. As Paul was called a Roman, Acts 22, 25 through 27, 1 Corinthians 12. Verse 1, real quick. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Brethren. The Christian will have you believe that this brethren is talking about those that believe in fellowship in Christ. No. Paul's brethren was his kinsmen according to the flesh. You will not see that garbage these Christians are trying to push. Oh, you're my brethren in Christ. No. Brethren is your kinsman according to the flesh. So Paul, he's writing to the Jews in Corinth. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. So what made Paul's brethren Gentiles is the fact that they were in idolatry. Yes, sir. Idolatry was the reason that they were Gentiles. You don't see none Jew, none Israel here. That's Caucasian man garbage, philosophy, theology. None Jew, none Israel does not appear in the text. They have no verse. But we have a verse that shows that Paul's brethren, his kinsmen according to the flesh that were scattered in Corinth, were Gentiles because of idolatry. We got you there, Christians. Idolatry made his brethren Gentiles. Had nothing to do with whether you were a Jew or this or that. So when I go back to Romans 11, in verse 11, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? The Jews, God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is coming to the Gentiles. These Gentiles are those Jews in idolatry. It's not talking about anybody else. It's talking about the Jews in idolatry for to provoke them to jealousy. You know why? Because the Jews, when you go back to John, I'm going to show y'all something. John 7, verse 35. It says this. Oh, I went past it. It says, and the Jews said among themselves, whither will he go that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? The dispersed were Jews. Why wasn't the Pharisee and the Sadducee going to teach them? Why?